Okay, guys, since we are looking at Python data type, just before we jump right to start looking at it, let's look at what these data types are. Basically, the data types are used to define the type of data that a variable can hold. When we're talking about variable, it's more like a container that hold values. Okay, um, so determine how the system, whether it's a compiler for maybe you're writing C program, so an interpreter for Python like we are doing now, it helps such to determine how to handle such data and what operations can be performed on it. Basically there are others, but these are the basic one we are going to look at: integers, strings, booleans, and floats. Time to start working on what we have: basic data type. In Python we are using notebook Jupyter Lab. Okay, so looking at variables in Python, basically what are variables? Because if you have been following what you've been doing, we've said variables are containers that hold value. They hold items. It could be numbers, they could be string, all right, and other items. So let me just, if you are curious, go back to a previous video on how I have to create this nicely placed heading and list here. So let me create a cell above this one. I'll use A. So I've created a cell. So here, for variables, variable names must start with lowercase letters so as to differentiate them from class. So if I want to define a variable called maybe var, I have to start it with a lowercase letter, as you can see here. And again, variable names cannot start with numbers. I can't do one var. As you can see, this is highlighted a different color because you cannot have that as a variable name. So after you do write a variable, then you use your assignment, which is basically the equal to sign, to assign a value to that variable. So basically that is what we do there. And so talking about numbers, we could have integer, we could have float, double, etc. Okay, so basically if we have integer value, let's say y equal 5. Okay, so if I do, if I come down here and do print y, so let's say if I want to do y equal 5, enter. So I want to print out the value of y. So if I do shift enter, it's going to print 5. All right, then I could as well come here and do what type. Okay, what type is y? So I'll just do type of that variable. So if I do enter, sorry, I keep doing that mistake. I have to do shift enter. So you see, it's going to print out int to show that the type of y is an integer. So again, let me create a cell above this one, a. So again, I could come here and do a equal 1.25, and I'll go ahead to print. the value of A, print A, shift enter is going to print that. Then I could come here and do type of A. And it's going to print that A is a floating point value. All right. So basically, still on numbers, we could come here and okay, we could add two numbers. Basically, we could add two numbers. 2 plus 2, shift enter. We could multiply two numbers. We could multiply two numbers. Let's say 5 times 6. Shift enter. Okay, let me create more cells here and five times 6. Shift enter is going to print 30. So we could divide, we could look for the modulus, let's say 20, or let's do 10 modular 3. Modulus, as you know, prints the remainder of a value. So shift enter is going to tell us that the remainder after division with 3 is going to output 1. So talking about strings now, strings are basically declared with single or double quote. So basically, I could have, let's say, a string. I could declare a string variable and just give it this string boy. All right, so I could come here and print out. Let's first print that out, the value of string. So I do str, I hold down shift enter, it's going to print out boy. Then I could use double quotes. Let's say I have my string and I do cars, so cars equal to, and I use a double quote, BMW, then again I do another one, Corolla. All right, so I could come down here and then print cars, shift enter. So it's going to print this together. So as you can see, you can use either single or double quotes for string. So again, let me add another space below BB. All right. So I can concatenate, I can append or join two strings together. It's called concatenation in programming, right? So I could have, let's say, a string. Let's call this string 1. I could have another one, this string 2. So I can come to the middle here and append, join both strings together using the plus sign. So we'll do string 1 plus string 2. So if I run it, shift is going to print out this string 1, string 2. Again, you can, let's do another example. Let's say I have a string 3, and I have another one. So I want to join this together. What do you think the value will be? Are you guessing 6? No, that will be 33 because this is a string, this is a string. It basically take this and join it to this. But one thing you can't do, one thing you cannot do is when you try to concatenate a string to a variable, to an integer. Let's say I have 1 as a string, then I come and do plus, then I want to join that or concatenate it with a variable. Sorry, this is a variable. I want to join it to a variable. So if I do shift enter, it's going to throw an error. So what's the error about? Can only concatenate string, not integer to string. So basically, you cannot concatenate a string with an integer. So that's that on string. There are a lot you have. We also show you later in subsequent video. Let's talk about Boolean. Okay, once you should know about Boolean, they are either true or false. All right, so I could say 2 is exactly equal to 2. So of course you should know that a single equal to is called assignment statement. So if I come here and do x equal 3, I'm only assigning the value x 3 to x. So if I want to text equality, how if two values are equal, I use the double equal sign. So if I come here and do 2 is equal to, so what do you think this is going to return? Shift enter is going to return true because 2 exactly equal to 2. What if I do 5 is greater than 3? Shift enter is going to return true also. What if I do 3 is exactly equal to 2? Of course, this is going to return false because the value 3 is greater than 2. And if I say 10 is less than 4, what do you think this is going to return? It's going to return false because 10 is greater than 4. All right. So we're going to talk about data types shortly.